All right, what you gonna tell me? I want you to tell me about Alaska. What did you do in Alaska?
Well, I worked up front of a coal mine, and it was a slope mine, and you rode down the slope, and you drive down the slope, and they had the two wires stretched over top, where you'd had that bell rack, you hit that, and that rang the bell back to the horse, where the guys run the horse. The cable was about this big, and the men had to walk down the slope. It was had steps made for them. Turn that light off. And they had to walk down the slope, and they had a big sump pump down there, where it they had a big pipe would pump the water out of down there where that water went into, and one got hurt. They had stretchers, and then you put them on the stretchers, and then you bring them up the slope and take them out to the doctor's office. I got a picture of Alaskan dormitory, and we'd work up there, and we got our groceries up there. You make off a list, and then when they brought a box car in, bring the railroad cars in, a box car, they'd bring you groceries in that way, and they have your name on the boxes. And there wasn't nobody got the other's groceries, they had your name on it, just like the army. And when if you got sick, of course you had a good doctor there, a nurse, and I'd go watch the dormitory, and
You go and sit beside
shoot
your
pool,
uncle.
and
Okay.
I had two of them dogs up there, them huskies.
Oh, really?
And, well, them huskies are smart dogs, and so I had a good building fix for them to sleep in. You know, they lay out in the snow, and I'd go out there and fish, and Laura, she'd go out there, and Dale, she said, Don knows all the best places to fish. I said, a fish here. I'd move on up the creek, and I'd go catch it again. I caught one, slipped it on Doris's hook. I said, Doris, hold that there like that. I said, raise it up, see if you got there. And she raised it up and had one about like that. She went jumping up and down laughing. She thought she caught that. And we would get a meat up there. Sure, the whole lot of what dogs were. They had a big place, where they kept the meat hanging up. And we just keep it over there. And I fixed Loris a bed. See, me and Des had a big bed, and then fixed Loris a bunk of 4 iron. In case she rolled out of bed, she wouldn't hit the floor, she'd get in her bed. I still got the picture of the fence. She's all to take off when she's leaving. And I told Des, I said, I'll fix it so you turn out in the yard. And I took and made a fence, and then put the board about this wide on top of it. She'd hold to that and kick, trying to climb over it, and she'd fall back in the yard. And Miss Thomas that lived there next to us, she had 2 little boys, and they really liked me. And so I'd take them out there at the creek and let them fish, and she teached them just like a school teacher up there. And that was she was really a nice guy. Her husband, he was a nice man. And we had some good times up there. And another thing was a lot of fun. I tried these old trunks for one of the flats. So they was a drinking, and I'd fix the bridge up above her, put boards on about that wide. And Hen Holt and old Bill, he's about half high. He said, I can walk that log. I said, I'll give you $5 if you can walk that log. It was a long way across that creek. So he's doing pretty good. He got to about halfway, and man, there's the snow on. And he fell off in that log, in that creek. It washed him out of the creek. But of course, I broke the run down there to get me a stick, just like I found a dead stick, it was long, and I stuck it out there. He got a hold of that, and I poured him back, and he got there at the edge of the creek, got a hold of a bush, and he cold about a boy. It was cold when he wore a house, and I had to reheat the house with coal. Of course, the coal didn't cost me nothing. Mr. Thomas, he gave me the coal. He said, I wouldn't have to pay a penny for it. Said, if I was a good worker, said, and I was off on the job. So he fell in on the floor at my house, and I had a big coal stove in there. It wasn't electricity like people got now. He got in behind there, and he finally dried off. And I gave him one of my jackets to wear then, before he lived on it for above us. And, I'll tell you, we kid that poor guy about that for months. We had to tell him, say, let's go and walk that log again. He said, don't name that log to me. He said, I should have got killed. They might be that crazy. And fish, boy, you could really catch a fish. Trout that long up to that creek. I mean, they fish out there. So,
Now, what part of Alaska was that?
that was Alaska. Now, there was two mines up there, Alaska and Jonesville.
Oh,
And the
Quince.
Quince Gerald,
Yeah, he was up
I lived
there.
out Horse Creek. Quince, he worked over his other mine, and he lived down at Horse Creek, and so Quince took him over to house, and he laughed all the time, Quince did. You sure ever coming, and when he get over, he'd be laughing, and so he worked over that other mine, over at Jonesville, and I worked there at Eska, and so one time, a bunch of them got to drinking, and of course, like guys does at drinks, and so they was sick. He can go to work. Of course, they had doctor over and a nurse over in the dormitory, and so Mr. Thomas, he called them all together. He said, "I'll tell you right now," he said, "this laying off from work on Monday, if you ain't got a doctor's slip, said you getting your time. Said it's too much this your Monday laying off. You know, if you get to drinking, they'd be so sick you wouldn't feel like going to work." So, Hellman Thomas, now he was a guy I really liked him. He was all business boy, and so his wife, she was a pretty woman. She was small, about like a jam there, and so I go and shoot pool with the dormitory, and so. Dolores, I take her over,
What did you think
and
that horse there?
Miss Thomas, she just opened the door at the office, and let Dolores go in where she was when I shoot pool, and they liked Dolores, her and her husband both.
I guess
So,
that's daddy.
Boy, she could
bring the
really
horse
type.
into the bar.
She could type with both hands
Look at
and
the black horse.
be a laughing, looking at you, and never missing nothing more of them numbers. Boy, she could type. And
How old was Dolores
Dolores.
up there?
what's the worst ever was to take off.
I wasn't
Back
very
here one
old,
time,
really.
we just went to Betsy, and
Oh, they
so,
wasn't back in Alaska?
I here at Betsy, when they come back
Oh, when
here.
I
And,
come back when I was little.
So, Dolores, yes, he had Dolores and I was buying some things, and so that's why else she Miss Dolores, and she thought somebody just come by and got over the head and walked off with her. Well, I didn't know what might have happened to her. Well, they're hunting for her, and then them clerks in there and all of them. I thought maybe she went up on one of them clerks where, you know, got him behind her desk. You know where we found her at? She crawled back in behind them clothes that were hanging up.
That's what they said. I don't know, Janet.
I told Elsie, I said, I'll fix her. So I bought them one of these shirt straps about that long. And a ticket went around it like a belt. And you snap it inside. I just put that around and I just fastened it to my belt. So she couldn't get away. One time there she had in her hand, or I had my hand, you know, just told took like leading up pup. And she said, I'll carry that strap. I said, I think I can carry that strap. See if she got a hold of it, she might have got away again like that and walked off. And Judy, when she was small, why, Judy always liked to go with me, just like
Oh,
she
this
did.
is
And,
funny.
So I told her I was going out to Kyle Fedger's, and she wanted to go down there. Kyle, he had some girls that age of Judy, and I said, you can't go. I said, I'm going to be gone for a good while. You know, I was going down the road and had wasn't this Chevrolet, I had another good car. She got in the back seat and laid down in the floor. And so when I down the road, almost something just grabbed me by both ears, yanked down on that, and I rammed them brakes on. And there she was. I thought to myself, well, Lord God, I had to turn around and go plumb back. Me and Elsie lived down there in Nanny Gerald's house, or back out of that church. And I had to go plumb back up there to let Elsie know where she's at. I said, boy, I said, if you ever do that again, I said, you could call me to Rick. I said, I'll give you a good whip. And so Judy, she always wanted to hold the steering wheel when we was driving. And I never take hold of the steering wheel and then get on dirt road, and I got one of these pillars, you know, about that thick. I said, I'll let you drive up to her. Of course, I was sitting there while we should get the wheel. And, you know, she got through, she made a good driver. And Lois never would try to drive, but Judy now, I ain't bitch could drive Judy. And so they letting Jackie drive now, that boy there.
Oh, now he can drive
so,
now.
I talked to Jackie. Jackie really listens to me when I talk to her. I said, I'm going to tell you
How
something,
did he get
Jackie.
graduate this
I said,
coming year?
Don't you pick up every guy. And I said, lots of guys getting with you. And they said, is this past the thing to run? I said, if you do, I said, just stop. And tell them if you don't like the way you're driving, to get out and walk. Oh, he really listens to me, Jackie does.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of money changed, and so Jackie, Papa said, give me some of that change. I said, Jackie, you got to learn to save money if you ever have money. And Heather, that girl Judy, I call her Missy. And so she go in my room, she likes candy. And she said, Papa, where's your candy at? I give her some candy, and Judy said, where's Heather at? And they said, young, you know, Judy called me Papa, or Heather does. And they told her, she's in there. Said, but Daddy, Judy said, I bet you $50 she's in there eating candy. And Judy, she opened the door. I said, hi, Teddy. And I had the bars of candy. Teddy, she put back on the bedspread. She said, it ain't the high, Teddy. I know what you're doing. You ain't eating candy. And I just grabbed Judy Beach's wrist, and she about the size of little Jan Murray there. I just grabbed old Judy by the wrist. I said, go ahead and eat, Teddy. I said, all you want. I said, I'll work. And so Jackie said, Papa, scratch my back, rub my back. I told him, I said, Jackie, come over to the door. I got him over to the door where friends stand. I said, back like that. He done that, he looked at me. Now, Papa, said, that don't feel as good when you scratch and rub my back. But boy, Judy makes you walk the line, boy.
I want you to tell me some stories when you was little. What,
Oh,
what did you and
yeah,
your brothers
boy.
Do what?
I want to know what you and your brothers got into.
You mean who?
Yeah, come
Yeah. Clayton and Jean and all of them.
Well,
Tell us.
we used to get out there,
Oh, boy.
and old Sid, he's the one got the whipping. And my dad now, he was tall, and boy, he meant for work every morning. So he was a cradle oats for the cradle. I know you know what a cradle is. And so he's a cradle oats, and I was a plowing with a double shovel plowing the corn. Of course, you have to put a muzzle on a horse, you know, keep him biting the corn as it gets up a bit high. And Clayton, he was a hoeing corn. Of course, Clayton was doing all right, pulling the weeds and around the corn. Old Sid, he like a cat. He didn't pull no weed, he didn't tend the corn. And Dad seen down on the spring down there, Paul said, Siddy, go down and get some water. And Dad, he's cradling, he's like Jerry, he was tall. Dad, he was hot. He walked out there at that bank. He'd sit down at that spring. He'd roll it up and wet water cold to get out fridge there. So he had a big cup there, tin cup. And he kept on this stick, for it to drink out of. And so Sid went down. He didn't want to go get the water. So he went down there and Dad, he was, that before he just got down there at Sid, boy. Sid, he got some clods of dirt and dropped in the bucket. First a while back up for my dad, and I could tell, boy, when my dad got mad. When he get mad, his chin kind of quivered. He like Jerry, was tall, slim, and he said, Siddy, how come this water be muddy? I don't know, Papa. He said, I guess there's a crawfish down in that spring. And Dad, he said, I know the crawfish, boy. I know he was mad. I know Sid was going to get her, boy. I see him going towards the apple tree. He always did carry a knife sharp as a razor. And, of course, he bought a saw knife and a Barlow knife. He said there's a man's knife and there's a boy knife. And that's one thing he didn't get a hold of was his pocket knife. And he's particular about his clothes, too. And he went dressing each, if he went for. He bought dress clothes to wear to Sunday school. Morning wore if he had to go to a funeral or something like that. Now, boy, he was strict about his clothes. And he bought clothes to wear to work in or play in. And so he really was tight, honest. And so one time had these sling shots like a bunch of boys will have. And we'd catch him gone. They had all kinds of chicken. We shoot them chicken's heads, He was getting old chicken head, but grabbed them about that big. That old chicken head flop around. And my dad knew every chicken he had. And he would warm the corn when he'd, for winter time, scrape the snow off him and feed him. And we got to throwing at him and shooting them slingshots. And I had some of these little ball bearings about that big. Old rooster. And he said he loves your chicken's cruel more. Of course, I do too. And I thought to myself, well, I'll just take a shot at that in his head. After a shot, that ball bearing, I killed that thing. He went went down against the fence, and Paul May, she done the cooking. So I told her, I said, now don't you tell Paul. She said, I won't tell unless he asks about what happened to that rooster. And said, I ain't lying. Maybe she did a Christian lie. She said, I ain't a lying for you. And said, I tell no lie about it. Said, I'm telling the truth. So he missed that rooster. Well, I got by with the pretty good while. I don't know what's that. I said, maybe a rooster over that palm patch over from my house. So I know what happened to it. He said, there's something happened to that rooster. He said, you seen any stray dogs around here? I said, no. Well, they said, you better tell him, because when he finds her out, you know what you want to get. Well, I told him. He said, I told you about these slingshots. Said, go get them. Oh, gee, never one of us, of course, we hate to give him slingshots stuff, so we get dropped and shoot that thing. And that really hurt us. We had to get the slingshots, and he took his and he said, come here, boys. Have one of these. He had a great far blade. Throw them in there. Had a bunch of wood in there. Blow them up. Boy, that really hurts. Like a young boy. So, we really hate. There didn't have no slingshots to shoot the birds. And that's another thing we whipped us for one time, shooting the birds. And he'd scrape the snow off. And so, he'd scrape the snow off. He'd feed the birds in winter time. He said the poor birds can't get much to eat when there's snow on. So, we got there, we'd shoot the bird to catch him gone. Of course, we wouldn't let May see us, for May'd tell it. And,
You remember
so,
her, Janet?
we'd get out there and shoot them birds, and then made these darts. I bet you probably did too.
She
And
made
she
her
put
hands
a chicken feathers in her tail feathers, Them
And
stick
then
out like
the
that,
last
and then
many
take a
moons,
piece of
yeah,
wood
it
and
was
file
so
your nail
pretty.
sharp and put in there.
She was
We
blonde
have a
headed woman.
Circle made 1,
But
2,
she
and 3, and
was
4
pretty.
weeks that we throw it
Clean
set and
as a pin, Jack.
stick them in there.
And there was
So we're going to school. We stick down to school, and old man Lodge Wallace teaches school. And yes, Gerald had a bunch of hogs. They run down there. Of course, we had a bunch of hogs too. Everybody had their hog marked in, cut through yours, so you tell whose hog was who. Poor Shorty Gerald Arthur, his name. And he had the short legs. He was born bow-legged. I know you've seen people like that. He threw that dart at one of Gerald's hogs. Early Hick went that tail feather sticking up like that above his tail. Old man Lige, he was laying up on the bank like this. He called him Arthur. Arthur, I mean for you, get that dart out of that hog. Poor old Shorty, I felt sorry for him. Of course, he's all tickled too. And he was running with them little bow legs. he couldn't run fast enough to catch up with. And I was tickled bad, we was all laughing. So, I just broke through and I run by that old hog. I grabbed it out like that, and old man Lige took up books. And he said, "Come here, boys. Every one of you." He said, "Empty them pockets out right here. Every one." Of course, we had some slingshots. We had them hid. And I had one down here on my sock like this, you know. Old man Lige said, "Pull up here, where's your leg?" Boy, he found that slingshot. God, that really hurt me. That was a good twist in this war, you know, it made it strong. He said, "That goes in the stove, too." Had one of the old big pot-bellied stoves where I called big old burn-sized stove. But of course, he had sand around here. And he had 2 and 4s around there in case the fire oil house, you see. It wouldn't get the schoolhouse involved. And so we had that. He'd always play up on the bank. I can't. He watched us play ball.
No, you did not, but I did. Did you?
Poor Shorty Gerald Arthur was his name. He had a good education. He worked at Edward in the script office for years. So Boyd Wiley, that was his brother's boy. Boyd was. So Boyd, he had his eye right there. He had a blood clot, and we called him Cater Cage. The boy called him Big Fat, you know. So we we went down there, and so I always felt sorry for poor Boyd. So we used him for the bar, you know, running,
Oh,
barked like a
Lord.
dog, and keep him up the corner of the fence down there. Yes, Gerald had a house up above that bottom down what the schoolhouse was. Poor boy, he'd really run. His sister's name was Ruby. And so I really liked Boyd and his daddy and mother, and I liked Boyd and Ruby. So yeah, she lived down below Boyd, and so her and Ed and Boyd, he started over at the store, over at Taylor store, and Doc, that was his daddy's name, said, "Boyd, keep your eyes skinned on that hard road." He meant for him to be careful about cars, you know. Boy, he looked back. He said, "Daddy, I don't want to skin my eyes on that hard road." Doc, he got mad. He took after poor Boyd. He's so fat he couldn't run too fast. He caught poor Boyd down in front of Essie's Ned. Essie, she's laughing about that last time she's in the week. She said, "I'll never forget that." She said, "I felt sorry for poor Boyd." Said, "But that was so funny." Said, "Doc took after him. He called him. He got him a big switch and he really whipped Boyd." And so his sister, Ruby, she's about the size of Janet. And boy, she really learned good in school too. And Janet did. So she got married then after that. And she had a car wreck. And she got killed in that car wreck. And Boyd, he got killed in the coal mine. He had a big body on him. He was stout too, Boyd was. And he got killed in a coal mine, and Ruby got killed in that car wreck.
No, you don't.
I never will forget that. Of course, went to school with
Dog
him.
was smart.
And,
Tell us about your brothers and sisters.
who?
Oh, I was gonna tell him about this, about my grandpa.
Okay.
But you know what? He had a dog named Burger. So that old dog, you know, he went up, he was worried about him. So he drove a school bus. Anyway, so old Burger, he got worried, you know, that old dog. He started out on Rock Creek Holler. He met him up where Jerry teaches school Mountain View. He walked across the road like this, and I flagged him down. So he opened up that bus, said that dog licked him. He licked him one end to another. You know, he's a little dog giving him sugar. Yeah, and then my Uncle Raymond said one time he's taking cows up Rock Creek, and I forget this woman's name anyway. I guess she's dead for now. Anyway, he said,
Dave Wells.
oh, Dave Wells' wife. Anyway, he's taking him up there, you know, to go up and pick, you know, and said, she's going, shoo, shoo. He said, you know them cows can read. He's supposed to do. And then so this went on up the road, you know, and that old dog, Virgil, he was so smart that anyway, that he go probably around 5 o'clock, I guess, go around and pick their cows out, have the rest of them, and come back and bring them home.
A mother cat.
And that dog just appeared, and I don't know what happened to it.
I know.
Never did see it no more.
I think the old story that Wells had.
Oh, did that guy? I don't know. I think
They
it.
don't tell the tricks that the Miller boys used to
Yeah.
play on the
That's it was.
Now, which one of the Miller boys was the meanest?
Which one, Gene or you or Sid or who?
I tell you, I think the truth, Gene was too, and Sid, and old Sid, he went half whole corn, and my dad gave him some beans, and I done the plow, and had, of course, you had to put a muzzle on the horse, you know, after it hung up about that higher, they'd bite the top of it. He gave Sid the beans, and he always called him Siddy. He said, "See, I want you to put 2 beans on each hill of this corn, every hill of this corn." Well, it's about that for a pardon. Sid, my dad, he was crazy. He's like Jerry, he was tall, slim, and so Sid, he went through and put some beans in there. My dad used up
Here
those,
comes 2 of them now.
So
Which one of them 2 was the meanest?
I don't think so. They think they're
Them
good. Hey, get over here and sit beside.
We need y'all sit over there.
sleep.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna sit over there.
No,
and-
just sit over
I'm
here.
gonna
Get
sit
over here.
and sit-
On the camera.
and sit right down the road. What I'm gonna do.
When
Get
you
over
sit
there.
over there,
He
right there.
said, Don said you was the meanest
Yeah.
one. Is
No,
that
he
right?
never.
Oh,
Oh, excuse me.
Well, yeah.
Ain't that sweet?
All
I love that
Which
story.
one was the meanest, Don?
I think Gene was.
Come
Hey,
here,
Gene, did you hear what they said about you?
Don't you better be grinning.
He told me the Millers
You want
used to beat
camera?
up on
Young
him.
Candy Cameron.
He
Well,
did.
hey, you smart too when you
Yes,
operate
sir.
that machine.
Tell some stories.
Did you 2 used to beat up on
Do
Gene?
what?
Now, Stan,
Is this
I'm
where-
gonna
Oh,
head down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head down the road and
Well,
see.
how did that work?
Tell us a story about Don. How mean was Don when he was little?
What's that?
I-
Well, we had slingshots, just like a bunch of boys. And we shoot the bird.
What about them chickens you used to steal?
Uh-oh.
And
Did
you
y'all
ain't-
steal chickens?
They stole off me.
You ate the chicken.
Yeah,
Remember you
they
ate the.
cooked them.
Oh, yeah.
That's me just come to eat. Well,
If Boswell cooked
about
the
like
chicken.
chickens. And so was eating chicken. I missed some of my chicken. I had some pretty ones. You sure Dominic fried side. And I went to feed him. I missed my chicken. I thought to myself, well, boy, he must be a problem catching them. And I passed him up the night in the building. And Gene Gerald and Gene Miller, them 2 would just steal off from anybody's chicken. And my dad, he He said, let me tell you something, Gene.
You reckon in here they're telling tales on you.
Said that.
Tales on
What kinds of chickens did you steal
Said
now?
if you fellas steal any more chickens off of poor Willie Gerald, said, time I get through with you, said you won't forget it. And so I said, these chickens right here, said, if you want something to eat, well, what they do, they'd steal them off of poor Willie, and then they go up and hit a horse street, keep out, see and cook. Get them up a big barn, stay overnight. So one time, they down up Willie's, and poor Willie, he wore this here long john underwear, what I call it, his heavy underwear. He heard his chickens a squalling.
I'm too dirty to sit down.
What made you sit over there?
No,
His
I
chickens,
don't want over there.
his chickens roosted in an apple tree. Well, Willie knew that not turn, and Gene Gerald, they was two good matches.
You're supposed to quit
I know.
lying a long time ago, Don.
So they was getting Willie's chicken. Willie,
Don't
he
you
run out.
excuse me, I'm
He
gonna
went,
move
he
over
went out there, and so he
This chair's not big enough.
yeah, he is big enough for him. He ain't big as a cricket.
See what you want first. I got you a towel
Get
set.
out of here, go sit down somewhere.
And,
Yeah, sit, get
So,
your towel set over there.
Now we need the three brothers that were
Oh,
sitting
yeah,
together.
yeah, the three
Because we want to see who could tell us the biggest story about each other.
Yeah, come on.
Because we already found out that you went and stole people's chickens.
You got that turned off?
I got it turned on.
That's what it's for, honey. Have some
I thought
fun.
it had turned off. I didn't stop.
so
Oh no, it's
poor Willie, he
Let me tell you a story.
he come running out there. Hear his chickens hollering. He got into apple tree,
He gonna do it.
and he almost killed himself, He didn't have no life, but he heard his chickens hollering. He was running up there. He got into that apple tree and locked himself just about
You'll tell
out.
more stories if you
So,
sit beside it, and then he'll start teasing you.
That's it.
yeah. That's why I get the camera for. I want
Did
stories
you
about when
tell
y'all was
us-
little.
Did you tell the story about him eating your own chicken, Don? Did you
What?
finish
Yeah.
that story?
And they-
What for?
That's
They got
what
my-
he'll tell more
He
stories.
can sit on it. He can sit on it.
Oh, I eat dirty.
He'll tell more stories. honey.
Yeah.
I got that.
Start
We can't
teasing
stay
you.
here all night.
They got, they got my own chicken and Nancy cooked them.
All right, why don't you quit lying?
I ain't lying. And so Nancy cooked them and fixed them. And this Jasper right here and Gene Gerald, they come and eat with us. And eat my own chicken, didn't know it.
Was it good?
Yeah, they got them on me. I missed them. I thought Steph Willie been talking. And I'd fasten them up. I'd give them the light, and I'd slip out there and shine that light around so you can see them. This bird right here, and Gene Gerald, I'd like to have a count of the chicken stuff you stole. Did you have ever pick up a batch one time?
Get off this subject.
Okay, Gene, it's your turn. It's your turn.
No, I ain't got no tail staff.
You mean your brothers is perfect? They didn't do anything mean when they was little?
No, I quit telling tales on.
Right, ain't you gonna tell that one?
No.
How about you?
Clayton, you tell. Hey,
No.
Clayton.
Tell a
He's
story about
in his glory now. If you don't talk, you gotta interrupt him.
Tell us a good ghost story or a story that your dad and them told you when you was little. Can you
No.
think of any?
No,
Any hunting stories or
no.
How
Which-
about hunting stories? I love hunting stories.
which one of you three caught the biggest fish?
That's all.
That, I don't know what he caught in. Now used to it. My dad, he said that when we was small, he said them hooks was too dangerous. Well, we sit down and got some hooks anyhow, and we made them. We'd sit down and catch them minnows, and so we'd step back up for a cast, but boy, we wouldn't let our dad see us with them. We'd step out there and we'd give them to the cats. And so that's the way it was when they hoed corn. My dad, he was, you had to pull every weed out, thin the corn out, oversee it, my brother. He one got the most whipping.
You told
He
me
got
that
the
one
most
day.
whippings.
And she took all the beans and poured out in a big stuff. Well, my dad, he walked through it, he
That's-
couldn't figure that out. Beans hadn't come up. He walked out with that stuff, boy, the bean vines was coming out there. So, my dad said, I can't figure out why that bean didn't come up. Well, when he's a cradle, he walked by that stuff, he looked, he knew it was bean vines.
Heck yeah.
He said, how come them bean vines be in that stuff, did he? I don't know, Poppy. He said, I guess that is a mouse. A mouse curry me. Boy, over there getting mad, boy. And when he get mad, he shit. It's like that. I seen him one word after. I know Sid was going to get him. And
I remember Poppy Hill
He said,
on
What?
a mouse don't curry
that.
me.
Hill and Sticks.
He got that sweet boy. He cut old Sid by the wrist. He started him down here, boy, that sweet. He really laid him on up here.
So Sid was the meanest one, huh?
Sid was one got most whipped.
That's cause he's not here.
He whipped Clayton, what? Or he said
You
Clayton.
cut.
He said Clayton was small, huh?
Daddy was the red
I
one.
thought he cut.
And
No, we
So,
want to hear all these stories.
and,
No, I think.
and
I want to go
Gene.
out and get the fish and show.
Gene, he got by pretty good. And so one time my dad said, well, said, you've all smiled. Said, you've all
Back of my
all
pants
for
are dirty.
He said, but
Here's,
I don't want
here's
the
what it
rest
looks
of
like
them.
in there.
Said, I don't want the rest
That,
of
you had
them
to look this way.
to grow up and say it.
It's a little bit too dark.
I said, I never
Yeah.
did whip you. Said, I might as well give you a
Oh,
dose of tea
Don.
too. Well,
You gotta interrupt us.
he just cut me for the rest
He
of
never
it.
runs down.
That sweet boy, he was fast with
Yeah,
that sweet.
this is
whip.
something we want to
So,
keep from in there.
Man, that there really
That's the reason
stunk
I
pretty
like
bad.
for you to be in with it too.
I had to
with
take
brothers.
And
Cause you
So,
just never
Yeah,
know.
I figured you had.
all
enough
of
meat
mine,
over
even
there.
feed the cattle.
No.
And he whipped old Sid again. He told Sid to feed the cattle. Hey, I said he ought to poke around like some old man 90 years old. So he took them all out and put them on a big pile. Chicken. So my daddy walked down through there. He seen them cows, all of them trying to eat something. You know, they had horns, they'd fight them and go. Sid said, my dad, Sid, he said, you drop on time. Said, I've told you and told you and told you how to feed cattle. Said, you got to scatter that. Bobby said they all get something to eat. Said, I put it out there. And so he was that Sid for feeding the cattle anymore. When I'd feed them, I'd all scatter it out in a big long row. And, so we get back, we threw rocks at chicken's heads. And Charles, my brother, old Charles, was
You
really
get that
cool
done?
boy. He was natural left-handed.
You get that done?
And
Bless your heart.
Elvis, he had two roosters. And we enjoyed watching them old roosters fight, you know.
Okay.
It's my dad gone, of course, when he was there,
He's good boy.
he didn't allow that.
He's dry.
But he'd be gone. And we had, we'd get them old chickens in the fight. And we put this pasteboard over the neck, you know. Then we put a big heavy mirror up outside. And my dad, of course, he didn't know it. We'd sit here up outside, and this old rooster walk up, he'd look in that mirror, and that pasteboard over his neck, and boy, he'd fight that mirror, he'd fight his own self, that old rooster. And
Yeah.
so, my dad called us one time.
Well, I used to,
He'd all get us all together.
And,
He said, I'm gonna get the right one. I said, who?
Took up plants.
How come he do that?
Many times.
Well, boy, we don't not lie to him. I did lie to him. I know if you died to him, you got that much harder whipping. And he said, well, he said, I'll get the right one. I said, come here. He took us one by one and with a swish, whipped us all. Boy, he was particular about his clothes. My sister, Surrey,
On the other side of her?
had his share of curtains put out like cheesecloth. He had a big desk, or he was really right neat. And so he'd sit there and write and figure. And so he'd write the figure. And had a big desk, he kept all his papers in. But we know not going in his room, boy, if you went and moved any of his stuff, he knowed it. And he hung his clothes up, neat, and so
Look at that.
he bought us shoes. That's another thing she got a whipping over. He bought us a dress slippers to wear at Sunday school, and old Steve, he'd go around there kicking rocks and everything. So
You know, it turns the
he wore them on Sunday, and then he took them off, and he had the shoes to wear through the week. But old Steve, he skinned his shoes up, boy, but that really whipped shit over there. He was picked about his clothes, boy. He was dressed neat. So when he was forming the CC camp, when that CC camp in, me and Charles, we'd got up in Oak County, boy, was forming in the CC camp. And that was a nice thing for young boys back then. They'd also, I mean, Charles Steve with the kid guy, they had these bars, you know, like in the officer in the army, you know. We just eat table with them guys. And so Charles, he was a good driver. And so that's the way we was raised up. Another thing, back in time was hard, work was scarce, and we raised corn, and he'd pick out corn if there's very bad grain in the corn. He'd pick that out and had one of these white sacks he put the corn in, just like a feather bed, you know, just like a chicken. But he picked out every bad grain he shelled out. We take it down the horse creek. He's a mill there next to the river, and they grind it. And so we take it down there, and then we raise cane. And I know you probably seen cane growing. And he made these strips out of hickory. He sharpened each side of them, and then the point would be sharp, and then they had a head hole back here. Before he cut the cane, he'd make us go through and take that strip them blades off of it, and he'd top the cane. Be about like getting that cane seed, you know, was fine, and he'd take, I put the barn, he'd tie it, he'd hang it up, and then of wintertime, he'd throw that out to the chickens to pick on, and the birds. Now, he believed in feeding the birds, and he'd scrape snow, and he'd feed the birds. So, that time he got a slingshot. That was for, we done that. We got there and shoot birds, kill birds, them slingshots, and shoot cattle, and that milk cows and everything. I can milk for both hands. So, people churned back then and made their buttermilk, and so Delsey's mother, she was a good hen to take care of butter. I mean, make buttermilk, and so churn, and so people's got plumb away from the old landmark from what she used to. Like my dad said. He said
my fifth floor.
he said probably after the old folks dies off, said these hillsides will grow up.
That's true.
And said come right down to the road. And I swear to God, you was at Horse Creek.
But you swear.
If you didn't know that was Horse Creek, you wouldn't believe that was Horse Creek. But yeah, I know that I'm telling the truth. Ways to grow up. Said these farms will grow up. They used to farm these hillsides.
He said, honey,
And he'd have corn shucks, hauling the corn.
He can even see it. You like before you see it.
Everybody around together in the shuck of corn. They'd have bean stringers.
Until the winter comes.
But you see, they got plumb away from that. Now they got to have his your light bread. And I never forget what my dad said about that either. That when you buy 10 cents a loaf, he said about all that's fit for. He said the fool man long enough to get him away from the table. He liked biscuits, you know, and cornbread. And so Harry, he liked the old brother. Old Harry, he liked cornbread and he liked cornbread and sweet milk. And he always did eat it of a night. And
That's good.
me and Charles think was one went up there at that house above Clayton. Harry, he was sitting there eating cornbread and sweet milk, and he put his bread in the sweet milk. We got to rattle his chain. Loft, he went down and told my dad. He said, "I wish said the devil's up in that loft. Said I don't hear up my said a chain of rattle. We said ladder hole to get up in there, and the face plastic big was in there. So we got the ladder. We got down. We run back down the other way. We got back in the bed like we was sound asleep. Dad went up there and said, "Oh, Hard, get that bed. Ain't no devil up here." And so Hard, he believed that for years and years, that was him up around that chain. And that
Was that
was
before he was married?
And then we'd throw snowballs at each other, soak them in water and squeeze them, boy, they was baseball. And old Charles, he was that's the lieutenant, man, he really throw. And so we got there and we get throwing to each other. Time I said, one of them I got, he was wet, soaked, and I kept squeezing that boy. He was like a baseball, and I cut down, he was in the back of the head, knocked him from down to his knees. He come out of that, and he had all kind of cogs over he fed the hogs, you know. And of course, that same as a baseball was about. So he just grabbed them up, and he went to break them too about that long. I swear to God, he really burnt me up, that cog, me running. Then down up. My dad's room had that big desk sitting there.
Can you
We
think
got
of any
to throw
stories
it.
that you have heard of the Miller voice?
Of who?
Can you think of any stories that you have heard of the Miller voice?
Well, I've heard a lot of them, but
I need
I
to get on
could
with it.
never tell them.
I need to get on
the
over.
way
Yeah,
it
just go over and sit beside and let him get you a
Oh,
camera.
Frank,
okay.
come here and sit down.
No, oh no, I'm not sitting next to him. He'll
I ain't
embarrass
gonna
me.
bite you.
Hey, go on, Fred.
Come on, we gotta get you on camera here.
Well, I can tell you some good stories on the, good stories on Cantley's side, cause I always remember them. But yeah.
Let's Miss Miller tell us one right here now.
Okay, Miss Miller, you tell one. Go ahead.
Who?
Her. Hit the floor.
Face it, you on candy? You on candy
I
camera?
know it.
Look at that red light and keep talking.
Yeah. See.
Tell us what
They
today
want-
is.
They want me to tell them some of the stories that the Miller brothers got into that I heard, but I forgot. So
Well, I know you some of them.
Have you
Huh?
heard
Tell some of them on Jesse coming there.
well, he won't. He's told me a lot of stories, but I forgot them. But he could tell them some about the time that was it Sid or somebody stuck that poker on your hand, burnt your hand. There was some.
I didn't know nothing about that.
I haven't
Yes.
heard that one either.
Somebody
Tell that one,
burnt
Jane.
somebody. See, I can't tell it the way you told me. You told me a lot of.
Now he
Oh, I know one. This is true. Well, you know where you used to live down the old home place? Well, they's fixing something for our place in Poppy's room. And don't you know that Judy got burnt right here? And they rubbed their hands, or somebody did, and got that fire out of there.
she went on my dad's room and didn't have
Lois,
no
you call us.
a screen to sit over the
You better get in
over
here and
the
call.
Okay.
And,
But that was true about her getting burnt.
she she got a bridges far and I had to know how to get that out. Well, she might have burned up. Now, I tell you, if you ever get a fire, don't, about all kids, of course you teach school, I reckon you still teach, don't never aim to run if you get a fire. Grab something other and put around you. But if you run, you see, well, that'll make it blaze that much more. But stop and grab something and put around there quick.
Do you remember Gene getting burnt with the poker?
Huh?
Do you remember Gene getting burnt with the poker?
Yeah, punching in the fire and got that poker got you how hot to get a great fireplace. Gene, he got hold of you in that hot poker. Boy, Dad, he was strict on us. Had to be, we got killed. Another thing, I'll tell you this when I don't see it.
Oh, back to
He
Sid
had
again.
Dad, he
That's it,
believed,
man.
he believed in
Especially since
my dad, he really believed in feeding the birds of winter time. Well, said he gave him a bird box. He took it over from the house and it pine fetch. He took my dad's plow lines, tied them together, and nailed a board on a cat. Of course, maybe I was in after Gene more. Gene might have been on it if he nailed a board on there. Told him to climb up there and nail that to that tree. And that faced toward the house, we watched the birds light in. Well, my dad, he read the Bible a lot. He was sitting out there reading the Bible. He walked around the house, the sun was shining, hit the top of that bird box cover with tin. That was shining. Dad, he looked at that. He walked back down around the house, and that's why I walked back again. He took another look over it. He said, "Come here, boys, have a trap on one of you." He said, "Which one nailed that box up first?" I told him I didn't. "You better tell the truth." He said, "I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna whip every one. I'll be sure to get the right one." So, old shit, he finally owned up to it. I think G maybe helped him tie them plow lines together, but he had to plow tore that up for him. He said, "I'll tell you right now, that's the last of shooting at that bird box." And so he'd feed the chicken and he'd catch him, go back in the house. Of course, I just about as many as any of them. I just had me a stick about this big around, kind of long. One old rooster, he'd fight the rest of the roosters off. And they wouldn't let the hen eat much, and I thought to myself, I'll fix you. And I just got that stick and I'd come around like that, took that thing back, head, he'd up flopping. And so my dad, he was gone. And
Miss Miller, can you tell us any, where Gene lives, or, where y'all live in Ohio, and what type of work Gene does?
Well, he doesn't work. He's on disability. But
What did he used to do?
a lot of carpenter work and things.
Do you work anywhere?
No,
Where about in Ohio do you live?
in Savannah.
Okay, where's that close to?
You know where Kent State University is?
That's close to Cleveland, isn't it? Up that way?
Well, yeah, Akron, Cleveland. But
How many miles out of Cleveland is it?
oh, I don't know, maybe about 30. That's where his brother Sid lives. In
Yeah.
Cleveland.
The main one, huh?
Tell him that story about that
Huh?
preacher. Tell him that story about that preacher that about he fell through the.
yeah.
Tell him that story about that.
Up here at Eccles, there's having from that fuel station, got a church across the road, and of course had a basement under the 30 seat. Like his house got a full basement under. So the preacher, he's up preaching, and if he had been a preaching on the end of time come, this church, the floor would drop from out. I guess a lot of them would have died right there, had heart attack. But he's up preaching. So I guess the thing kind of jowled rather and got danked down that basement. The preacher, he's up preaching. And of course, like a bunch of them at church, some sit there half asleep anyhow. Not too many amens comes out. So he's up preaching, and so they said that of course now I believe every word of that. 'Cause I know the bottom of it was sunk. That fuel station, that church is right across from that fuel station at first. The basement must still be there. They said the preacher was the first one out to the door. Well, anybody can realize that. For he was on his feet still preaching. He had to manage the rest of his first one out the door. They said the preacher's the person at the door. Well, that sounds reasonable. For he was on his feet, preaching while the rest was sitting there. Some of them might have been a daydream or half
And
asleep.
he went through the floor, didn't he? Did the floor?
Yeah, the whole
Something
thing
happened to
just
the
like the whole
floor?
floor and all went to the basement. But when it started sinking, see, the preacher's on his feet. He made them all sitting there. You waited in church a white aisle. And when he's up preaching, why, that went to sink. And so the preacher, they said, was the person at the door. Well, they said that was the truth, and I believe it, because the preacher was on his feet, still preaching. When that went sinking, well, he had a straight shoot at the door.
No.
And the preacher, they said the preacher's person out the door. And so I believe that. And I'll tell you something else. Brady Morris, of course, he dead now, I think. Down towards Creek, he had church in that old schoolhouse. And I've seen just had benches in there, they had old backrest. And I've seen Brady walk them benches and that church down Horse Creek. And I never miss a one of them, a shout. Now, that's the truth. And they didn't have no bathroom in the house. They had these outside toilets like people used to have. And they had these outside toilets in these cold cans. And poor May, her house, it was clean enough that you could eat off on the floor. And she had her house papered with newspaper. Now that's a God Almighty's truth. And the guy that married me in Delsey was Willie Peters, and he lived right above her. And he was a real preacher. And so me and Delsey stayed all night. First night with me and Brady after we got married. I used to kid Delsey a lot about that. When we got married, I said, I was having a hoopy doo, and I said, you trapped. And I went to another girl for her, Tess Bell. Boy, that Tess Bell was a pretty boy. And I used to go through that.
family, so.
Very girl.
Well, you should know about all
Boy,
of them.
he play a
no,
fine
I
up
didn't
boy,
get
he
into
make
much.
one talk. That's when they lived on Marshport. When they girl called Mashport. So
Clothespin out.
she plus her daddy, he was all so happy guy. He's all so laughing. And I'll tell you one thing, above all, live a Christian life for judgment days are coming to one and all. Because I go down on my knees and pray every night before I get in the bed. And if I wake up, I still pray. And every morning, I go down on my knees and I pray again and thank the Lord for sparing my life through another night. Bible says to draw nigh unto me and I'll draw nigh unto you. And another thing, poor Miss Farley, I'll never forget her. She used to pray and she'd pray and she'd say, we're going down the downward road as fast as the all-knock wheel of time can roll on. How true that is. And you know where they found her at? I never will forget her way she testified. They found her laying outside of her house. She had a sunstroke, just like that. I'll tell you another that died. The last word he ever said was Preacher Davis lived out here. And he always liked Judy. He always called Judy as a Don. And he always carried candy like me in his pocket. Judy, she always went to him, for he always gave us chewing gum or candy. And so he was a good hand to butcher, and a good hand to help skin a beef. And I called him. He said to call when I got ready, and to kill it. And I called him, and he said, I'll see you, Don. He meant he'd be out here. And he didn't get the receiver for that. He went out there quick, just like that. They called back and said, Preacher Davis talked to somebody, said he said, I'll see you. Said, that's the last word he said. Said he died. And I was the last guy that I guess he ever spoke to. That's how quick he leave this world. And gents, if you're teaching school yet, you should. Of course, I don't mean to boss you. And I don't mean to tell you what to do. But I'll tell you something, Janet. you should have them kids to bow their head and pray, and you pray too. You could lead the prayer and let them pray before you start having a lesson. Now you can take time for that, because you go to these ball games, you listen to the hooping and hollering they are at these ball games and slapping their hands. Now I know they got time to pray at
You
school.
guys want a cup of coffee?
So
Well, tell about when you went to school. You got any
Well,
stories about when you was in school?
when I went to school down at Horse Creek, they had this outside toilet and for the boys and the girls. And the boys, Janet, are you listening?
Yeah.
And the boys, they had a place over here, dug out, and they had the rock beat up. And if a boy wanted to take a leak, he took a leak care place getting a seat all wet before he sat down. And they had the board dead across this way, and had a place you come in here and then open the door. And if you sit in there on the commode, nobody couldn't see in there. And the girls the same way. And so they carried water up to the house, and up at the old home place down there at the schoolhouse down at Horse Creek. And so come over here. And so they poured out in a thing like a churn. And so he'd send two on one night, he'd send two after the water. 2 water buckets, one they carried water from up at the house. I poured in each your thing like a churn, and if you want to drink water, you just press that button and hold your cup in there and had your king cup, you just press it together. I knew you'd see. And if you wanted to go to the toilet, you had to hold up your hand and say, "May I leave your room?" And old man Lad was a strict teacher, boy. And he sat there at the window where he could see. And if you went down there and stayed too long, sometimes he just stepped in front of the hall, he'd ring a bell, or if he'd ring a bell, he had another little bell that had a wooden handle to it. He just rang that bell out the window. You know, you better be back to school. And he had these benches that you sit on, and a backrest to them. And you had a certain place for everybody to sit. And then you got these seats put in there. Had these here on top for you, right? And a place here to lay your pencil. And a place here where you put your books. And so you stick your books in there. And the janitor at school would just pick them seats up, you know, they'd raise that plaquette, and you'd sweep the schoolhouse out. And so that's the way it was. And Barry George girl, she went to school right. I never will forget her, how fast she could drive. And she'd go around them Norris, there where Charles lived. She stayed to me in Georgia. And so a teacher, Floyd Farley, he was a good teacher. He boarded there at old man George's. And boy, they was strict on you at school. And so old Lodge, he was a good teacher. I'll never forget that. And one time he's sitting up there, he'd sit there, he had a swivel chair he'd sit in. And so he'd put his feet up on the corner of the desk. And he went to yawning, and of course back in the flies in the school, you wouldn't raise the wind or summertime. He went to yawning, that fly flew down his throat.
Oh my God.
I said, "What's wrong, Mr. Wiley?" "Oh, God," said that fly down my throat. Of course, I was afraid to laugh out. Now, boy, he was a strict teacher. And of course, I got outside and we all laughed about it, but we wouldn't let him catch us. So that's the way it was back then. And you took your dinner. The kids did walk from the school. They took their lunch to school. Of course, they're at home. We just walk up at the house and eat. And so we take.
She didn't run down. You just got to interrupt. You know, say that.
You thought he
Did you tell the story about him losing his glasses?
Huh?
Did you
Oh,
tell the
shoot,
story yet about Lige Wally losing his glasses?
Yeah, poor Lige, he wore glasses, and so he'd stick them up on his forehead here. And let me get my glasses. I'll show you where you can be.
Oh God.
Don't give us a
So,
demonstration.
We want to laugh
Yeah.
a little bit, though. You told me.
He set his glasses up like
Funny
this.
ones, yeah.
He's sitting up there, and his glasses different from mine. And he had them up like that. And he was sitting up at the desk looking back over. He's watching the whole crowd, boy, and you really studied at school. He said, "If any of you children see my glasses any place." I said, "Mr. Wally," I said, "I believe up over your forward." He gets up like that. "Grit," he said, "I didn't know it pushed him up like that, but he pushed him up, and he'd sit to that big swivel chair, and he'd just turn like that around. He watched, had 2 rows of seats, you know, I mean, we kept your books and everything, and way he heated that, when it was cold, had a coal heating stove, and he had a thing, 2x4s, like, these 2x4s down here, and sand went plumb around it. And something else he was strict on. You didn't throw no paper down in the floor and outside on the playground. If he caught you throwing down the paper and stuff, he'd lay up when he'd watch. And wanted to throw that paper down, he'd make him pick up every little thing on that playground or throw out, down that bottom board.
How many
So,
rooms did they have when you went there? One room?
Huh?
One room?
Yeah, just one big room.
How many grades was in it?
God, I don't know how many kids went there, but I know there's a gang there.
6th grade?
One teacher.
And
Oh,
so,
Schoolhouse there.
Yeah, I just wondered.
and
When I went there,
So-
Don, there's 2 rooms.
huh?
When I went
Oh.
there, there's 2 rooms.
Oh, really?
Well,
When
yeah,
I
you
went,
think
there
you
was
went
just
there.
one. I thought, wasn't it?
Used
There's
to,
2 when I went
he
there.
used to just one room was.
Yeah.
Of course, now they had a cloakroom in it, like that, where you hung your coat, where you hung your coat, and your cap, and you hung him up. You hung him up in that cloakroom, and nobody didn't bother you. You had a certain place to hang him too. And come over here, come over here, come on.
Oh, no,
Hey,
honey,
he's-
you ain't
he's-
you.
he's
But
talking
come
about-
on, honey.
He's
Why don't
talking
you sit
about
right
this
here?
TV, honey.
Come on,
Go over and sit by down a minute, will you?
come on,
Go on.
come on.
She's gone.
Nobody's gonna take off. I had her in school last year, Don.
I was told Chris was here. Come on over here.
Come
Now
on.
she's coming. Come on, honey. She ain't bashful.
She's
a-
a pretty girl.
Her and Christy's the only dolls I got.
Oh,
They say.
hey, Chad, won't you tell you and Daddy and Chris was sitting on the porch?
Uh,
You remember about the water?
What water?
yeah, that's just the back portion.
You
We got
remember?
here to the
Oh.
back porch, and so I told Chris, I always called him Chrissy. I said, "Chris," I said, "look up, say, Lord, send me a drink of water." I said, "Now put your mouth there." I said, "Put your hand like this, though." I said, "Don't put your lips against that pipe now." I said, "Put like that." Chris, he looked up and said, of course I already had the water ready, you know, the paper cup so I could pour from that pipe. I said, "Lord," Chris said, "Lord, send me a drink of water." I poured that in that pipe, and it came down and hit him right there, didn't it? And you poured for him too. His sister, she got up there, she poured the water in there on Chris. I swear, he never will forget that. And we were
Chris
brother.
is going to school now, isn't he?
And,
This is their
Hello.
son.
and so he was really getting a kick out of us playing out there like that.
They laughed, you know. They had a good time.
Ain't Jansen a pretty girl?
I agree.
I had her in school last year, Don.
Yeah, she teached her. How about that?
Teach her?
Yeah.
She graduated though and left me, didn't
Yep.
I'd like to keep her this year too.
Are
but
you
they
a-
won't let me.
Are you still teaching?
Yes, she's
Oh, I bet you ain't all
It's school
time.
over with. So I'll go on for pray.
But I tell you one thing, if you don't do it, you should learn them to say yes ma'am, no ma'am. Like the
I guess
army,
they
now
do.
in the army, you say yes sir, no sir. You don't say
My
yeah, no. You
She
say
went,
yes sir, no sir.
Brandon. And
Well, I
he goes,
never
"Yes, ma'am."
rough started you when I
and
was
she
in-
goes, Brandon, now I don't want you. Now we're not in the army.
Sometimes they say it smart aleck, you don't think when they say
So,
it.
I think that's a good thing for parents that should tell their kids.
What? Tell us a little bit about the Army. What
Huh?
What did you do in the Army?
What to do?
Uh-huh.
I was in Vietnam when the war was on, as far as the big M house. And barrels that big around and all through almost you had a scope on it. Scope. When you throw that, you know what a hand grenade is, you know? Throwing that hand grenades. And, I think the Lord,
What country was you in, Don?
well, if we hadn't, that'd been the end of it. Of course,
Don, what
you got
country
this
was you in?
Veterans Hospital. All the guys in the Veterans Hospital is guys being in the Army. And some of the poor guys in there with their arms off, their legs off. And when I come back out of the Army, I'll never forget what my dad said when I come back out of the Army. I come walking through the yard. And so, of course, my mother passed away when I was getting small. And when I come back out of the Army, come walking through the yard, I hugged my dad neck. He like Jerry. He was tall. And he said, praise God, that my prayers have been answered when I come out of the Army. And when I left from down at Eunice, I had all the papers, and I was in charge of a whole bus load. And so I had in charge of that whole bus load and went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And so when you have a layover, they'd drink beer. Of course, I drank beer back then. And when we went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, have a layover, it'd be drinking beer. And I knew what time the bus was supposed to go out. And I had all the papers, all their names and everything. And so I walked in a beer joint. I said, let's go. He said, no, wait, drinking another beer. I said, no. I said, let's go. I said, I mean that.
I said, when you do them belt.
Captain, lieutenant, colonel, major.
Yeah.
They asked me how I made out with them. And
Really?
I said, done about what I was expected. I said, damn, get drunk on you? I said, no. And of course, when I got them, I was really glad of it. Right? It was off my hands, eh? And so they get you out there on a drill field and drill you. And so I know you see them drill on television. And sometimes we catch a captain's head turn, lieutenant, colonel. We just kick each other like on the bottom of the foot. Throw him out of step. So they called us one time like that. And boy, if they didn't really get on to us rough, boy, over there. And they said, this horse playing's going to be cut out on the drill field. And I still got my Army dog tag.
Ah.
My serial number is 35, 63, 63, 51. Donald Miller. My blood type is O negative. See, you got to wear them.
Yeah.
In case you get killed, they'll know which one it is. And if you get wounded, they'll know which, what kind of blood to get. Now, I tell you, the Army's strict, boy. When you eat in the Army, in the mess hall, you take your tray, you empty it in a garbage can, and so you empty the garbage can, and you clean that tray, and when you wash dishes, in the Army, you better not leave very speck on them dishes.
Okay.
If you do, they make you do them all over. And that's what should happen right around here. I get on Lois Lots side, of course, she does good. It is, but like my sister said, Bert, of course, she done passed away. And she she thanked the Lord could cook after Delsey passed away. And I'll tell you something else. Me and Delsey lived down Tor Street in Annie Jarrett's house, up back to that church. And
How long did you
When
live there, Don?
huh?
How long did you live there?
Oh, we lived there, I think, about 2 years, or maybe longer than that. And so, when Steve Gerald passed away, he was a good worker, and he always did call Bert Mammy. And sometime, a great while, he'd call her Bert, but most time he'd call her Mammy. And he'd always blow the horn at the top of a hill. And they asked him why he blew the horn. And he said, I want Mammy to know I'm coming home. And I went for one time back playing drinking, and I was about half high. I walked in the house, and I said, and Jess went down there, and I said, here, Mammy. She had the funniest look on her. He said, you should have been ashamed. Of course, I hated it after I said that. So, and he always called Marshall Bad Hire. He always called Marshall Marsh.
Sure.
And he always called
How it does.
Beulah. He always called Beulah Booty. And he always called Mabel Mabe. He always called Marshall Bad Hire.
Can you remember when you and Essie was little?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I remember. A little bit, of course, not a whole lot, no older it was. First, she'd feed us oats, and she'd take, she'd give one a bite and then another bite. That's Kid Essie when she went. I said, no wonder I said you're so large. I said, when it's growing up, you got all the goodies, and I got the cahoots. And I said, poor Wed. I said, I guess you get up and
Stanley,
eat all
you
the
want a cup
goodies,
of
just
coffee?
give him a leftover. I really
Take
had
a
her
drink of
going.
water.
And she grabbed me, she grabbed me here in my
You
home.
want anything to drink, Callie?
And I just grabbed her beach wrist and held her. Good God, I didn't know you still had step. We used to wrestle. And my dad, Jim took too rough on his dad. He'd say, cut it out, that's enough. Boy, we know mine too now. He was strict, of course he had to be.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so that time he broke the window glass out, he came a big desk sitting under his window, and the curtain was back. He pulled them back like that. Sure, and then put the curtain, you know, the cheese-cloth curtain. He said a curtain is to look light in the house and the sea out there. And he pulled them back like that. But he sat there and he's really right neat. And bigger. So he was strict, boy. His shoes.
Here.
He kept
There's
his
your
clothes
set
neat.
on.
His shoes shine, boy. And
You remember him keeping a diary?
huh?
You remember him
I
keeping a
forgot about
diary?
that. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And I
Who got that diary? You know?
Different ones for Christmas. He'd get different ones. Yeah, different ones.
And he get the
Usually just kept the weather in it, didn't it?
huh?
He wrote down what the weather was
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, he really right, he couldn't he, Jan?
Yeah.
And so he was strict. Of course, he had to be. I tell you, somebody if you went to see, I wish you go see the poor thing.
Who's that?
As Maggie Jordan.
Oh, look at there.
Is this one still taping?
Yeah, it is. Hello. God, hey, Jeremy gets serious up on TV. Come here, honey.
Right, we had to sit right
It'll
there
be a
beside
while.
her.
Go here. I didn't know I was gonna be on television.
What, honey? Oh, see her sitting.
There she is.
Oh.
I wish you had Chris over here.
Mhm.
Why do you know you could
They're still typing.
come over here, Jeff?
Oh, I see
There's
Janet.
Jan.
There's
Boy, Jan
Janet.
really
Oh,
good.
boy.
All right, now who's going to tell us what today is? So we can put it on today.
Today, so what is today, Janet?
The 21st.
21st.
September 21st,
1987.
Okay. Anything else to say before we turn it off? You got anything to tell me?
Do what?
Well, I enjoy going to church. praise the Lord for that.
You got anything else to tell me?
I enjoy going to church, and I pray for you,
I pray for everybody.
and I pray for everybody. Go down on my knees and pray
Well,
every night
that's pretty
before I
good.
get in the bed. If I wake up, I'll still pray.
Oh,
Good
God, I
morning.
didn't know what next second.
Every morning I go down on my knees and I pray again. I thank the Lord for
Hey.
sparing my life to another
Hey,
night.
look at there.
The Bible says to draw nigh to me
Hey,
and
look
I'll
here.
draw
Oh, hey, listen, he's going to tell the rest of them stories there.
nigh to thee.
Still tapping.
So I tell you
I
one
don't get what
thing,
this means right there.
we all better be getting ready for the judgment
Oh,
day and
that's
stay
true.
ready. For judgment days are coming to one and all.
Oh.
AWL. Another thing I'd like to see happen.
Oh,
I'd like to
Yes,
see
one good mirror.
I'd like to see fire in these schools before they start
oh,
blasting.
hey, look at Tony. Get that butt down, Tony.
I was
Jody.
great while I was over here.
Yeah, that bitch.
Janet, hurry up, get Janet.
And
Hey, look at Janet.
boy, Jen, you really think
Oh my, hey, this gonna be, this is on TV.
Gosh.
I swear to God, that you really think
Oh.
Hey!
Jen, you're a movie star.
I wish you would stop taking a picture of me.
I took
How heavy is
I've
it?
been out with skis before we lost met on the grass. Of course, she had
Oh.
to keep the ribbons out of it. So,
Hey, Dad, can you take this thing off?
and so,
Okay, we're going to turn this off and we're going to play some movies here in a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. It's gonna play, oh, there's a talk.
Well, my dad did with me.
Well,
Well, our dad's with
he said that
Back to
Sid
life.
was the meanest one of all
But
of them.
Dad told me.
He said,
All of them were mean. All of them were like,
and he said that Sid
Snakes.
got more whippings than any of the rest of them.
I said that he was lazy, that's the trouble.
Dad said all of them used to be mean. They look like gangsters in their old pictures.
That's why he said he didn't see what kept us all from getting killed. Said we run around with a gun, running around big snuff.
How was it you got your arm hurt?
Car wreck.
And then what?
Hmm?
Didn't you get hurt again before it got well?
He threw me out one time, and then
Yeah,
he took me to the doctor and threw me out again. I went in over in down the road that time. Tore my ears about off. Cut my lip about off. Tore my kneecaps about off. I must have went head first in over in here halfway to the house now.
What, the door flew open?
Yeah.
They pushed him out, didn't
They push you out or the door flew open?
Charles made that turn going over Red White and the door flew up. That gravel.
Where's you going to? Charleston?
No, they had doctors also in Red White.
No. How did Charles shoot himself?
Picking huckleberry.
I mean, it must have been some mean huckleberries.
I told him not to load the gun, and Jeremy moved, and he loaded anyhow. And the drawer caught the barrel. He reached back there going to get the barrel loose and hit the safe, hit the trigger. He had the safety off. Shot 3 holes series on.
3? How come 3?
Well, the bullet went in like that, shot this artery too, and somewhere or another turned and come back through. Just run a zigzag, shot 3 holes. He turned loose and let it bleed, and I went back to get his buckets and stuff after the doctor. And that old truck had leather seats. These big streams of blood that one. On them bush and stuff. See, you know enough to turn it loose. Every so often let it bleed.
His arm didn't have nowhere, leave nowhere effect. Yours did that.
And that way you done that, they they split them things open and cut plastic, and then when it healed, they went back to, took them out and took that plastic out. But it was months before he ever got much strength in his hand.
How long did it take yours to heal up?
Oh, a long time. Well, Stan, you just what, turn your thing off, I got to go.
Well, we got a whole bunch of questions we want to ask you.
Tell me about the time you tied the tin cans to the cat's tail.
That was a horse.
A horse?
We took ropes and looped around them horses' tails, tied wash tubs to it.
Well, I hadn't heard that story.
Joe, if you want to have some fun, I wasn't going to tell you get your bell back, but you hang a bell on a dog. They'll run.
Poor Kato, when he got his foot cut, we put tape on it. He go around shaking that foot. I mean, that's all he did. Trying to get it off. It's still, if we could keep it on there, so we just
Stand
let
still,
it go.
taking it.
Did you take two cats and tie their tails together and throw them over the clothesline?
Yeah, we done that all kinds of stuff. Boy, they'll eat each other up, like the first in there. They fight each other and try
What
to
did
get
you
loose.
do that for?
Just for me. I took a that old cat over at the trailer.
Quit.
I put a clothespin on its tail. He'd go more near that trailer tail and squall and have a breath.
Now, if we do that, he'd get mad as a hornet.
Well, Stan, I got to go. You
Hey, tell us a couple stories that you happened to you in the coal mines.
now, buddy, I tell you, I got going on those at work.
What did you talk about?
What? Hey, I got to have my book you give me. Stan, I'll take good care of it.
I want you to think of some stories and come back and tell us about the coal mines and about when you was a boy, and then what you thought when you first saw Janet.
When I first saw Janet, I forgot. I don't even remember when Janet was born.
Boy, that's a nice thing to say, wasn't it?
Jerry, I guess, the only one I remember his birthday, 44.
Well, Mommy said you showed everybody my toes. Remember that?
Well, I'll see you fellas. Joe, you going with me?
And it takes a talking too. Well, he's getting whatever we say too. It's got a voice thing on it.
Everybody got quiet all of a sudden.
Stanley, you want me to tell you how to catch a polar bear?
Tell me how to catch a polar bear.
I told you that, Joe.
Nobody got them tape.
He does.
Does he?
Fred saying it.
I haven't had your mom tell me.
So you put salt on its tail like you do a bird?
No? Didn't I tell you how, Beulah?
No.
Well, you find out how, where he's using by tracking him. And when you find the most tracks, you just cut you some hole in the ice.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you open a
did
can of
tell me
peas
that,
and you put that peas around there. When he comes out to take peas, kick him in the asshole.
Well, yeah, that's something.
Simple as can be.
When me and Ellen went down in the Smokies, you know, they have this thing about the bears and things, and I told Ellen, I said, lady, needn't worry, I'm not getting out and petting them or feeding them either one.
I have a little place for my dressing. Laying down in the refrigerator.
I wouldn't be scared of them, you know, if you passed them along in the car, but I wouldn't get out to feed them or nothing.
Tater box.
Eat them and make them jealous.
You know, this is kind of tater beans and stuff that's selling from where I worked last Christmas.
Oh. Georgia, I never thought I'd ever go to belly.
Me.
No.
I took classes in belly dancing.
And we went at night, and we had some young folks with us, and so it was getting close to midnight, and we know they had went to the rock laser show. Now, I like the laser, and I went to a rock show, and I never ever thought I'd ever go. They had this one boy sung "Go Granny Go." Now, I never heard that. But the laser, I like that. All them. Have you ever seen a laser show?
I've never seen them.
while they're having this rock show, they have
You mean
these.
they have these lights a flashing?
Yeah, out
yeah.
on the lake. It looks
Yeah.
like out.
Strobe lights. Yeah, John had those. Had them with his band, and whenever the drummer would beat the drum, he had these chrome drums, you know, and that baton it would just seemed like it was going just
Bring your plate.
a little bit at a time. I mean, in slow motion, you know, like he was going real fast like that, but the way the light made it look.
Well, here I am going to be 70-some years old. I went to a rock show and a belly dance. I wanted to see, they advertised the fire dances. That was what I wanted to see, but we had to watch this other because it was late.
Did you see Jerry Falwell go down the slide?
No, I didn't see
He went
it.
down.
No, I didn't
Doug
see
was
it.
supposed to
Shirley
go with
did.
him.
Finished.
Yes, honey, I'm thinking. No, I didn't see. I didn't.
He went down, he got wet in the dog, suit and all. And Doug's supposed to go down with him, and he says, come on down. He started waving, you know. So here comes a little, something looked like Doug when we got down there. It was a mannequin. It wasn't no real person. It was just a dummy, you know.
And I saw some other shows I never seen. Another show I never seen, and here I am this old. Me and Ellen went to Operaland. We didn't go, but you have to go to Operaland to ride this big. I've got some pictures and things I'm gonna bring and show you. And pictures of me and the Smokies, and they've got a big riverboat there, the Colonel Jackson. It goes up the Cumberland River.
Yeah.
You board it in the morning and you go up the Cumberland River. The riverboat is as long as a football field, and it's 68 feet wide and 52 feet deep. It's 4 stories.
Oh.
And either going up or coming back one, they have a showboat show inside. You can see it either going up or coming back. So me and Ellen rode on the bottom deck up the river. We wanted to go up the river on the outside and see the show as we come back down the river. Now that was really something. They have all these showboats.
Well, how much did it cost to ride it, Beulah?
Well,
Or do you know?
it's part of Operaland, but we didn't have time. We was all day on the river
Oh, that.
of a daytime. But if you go at night, they have a moonlight. They have a moonlight one up at night, and you go downtown past Nashville, and then come back and go up the river. And Ellen said it cost us $75 to go that night. That's $25 or $30 more average fare, but I really enjoyed it.
I never saw it in red, though. Mine was not red.
That's because it's inside.
I
All
like
right, Pumpkin, you can turn it off now, honey.
I like the showboat. I like all
That's
that.
Jody.
Heidi.
Corey's got the camera right up in my eyeball.
That thing can take pictures within an inch away from it.
Okay, say that again.
Say what?
What you said?
Oh, my darling. Where have you been?